gonna be when this is over?
Smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while.
What you do?
I smile.
Come on and
Smile. It's so hard to look up when you've been down. Sure would hate to see you give up now.
God's people.
You look so much better when you smile. So smile.
Now every day ain't gonna be perfect, but it still don't mean today don't have purpose.
KBLA Talk 1580. We are broadcast live from the Pasadena Church in Pasadena, Altadena area. KBLA Talk 1580. It's open. You're welcome. This is a distribution center. It's a drop-off point. And it's also a broadcast today. There's coffee and donuts and fellowship and friends here. And as I said, all are welcome. The council member Hampton was referring to PCC Foothill campus. If you need to help filling out your FEMA paperwork or mental health services or anything of that sort for people impacted by the Eaton fire, it's at 3035 East Foothill Boulevard in Pasadena, 91107 if you're trying to find it on your navigation system. I'm being joined now by some folks in person and someone on the phone. We're navigating that a little bit, but I'm so pleased to welcome the president of the Altadena Historical Society, the Emeritus, a longtime resident, Veronica Jones. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, we want to get into why this is such a special place and the history of Altadena, but I see that you're feeling sad right now.
It's really kind of complicated. My house was spared. But all around me, my neighbors, my friends, my community burned. And so having gratefulness and sadness in your heart at the same time, it's a strange kind of feeling. It's a strange place to be.
It must be very eerie.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very, very much so.
And even with your house spared, I'm sure it's not livable, right?
No, we haven't been in our home in 8 days.
And I know a lot of folks want to go back to their homes. That's the pressure. The National Guard is here. People are being kept out of their homes. But as a co-producer of today's broadcast, James Farr said, it's not safe, right?
It's not safe. It's not safe. I have a friend and her neighbor's home burned and not hers. And she thought she could go back. And they said, no, we have to test the dirt because there's contamination.
And all kinds of hazards. But Altadena, I think even people from LA really didn't realize the deep roots of black people in this area. And I know that when we were redlined and we weren't allowed to buy, not just in other parts of Pasadena, but other parts of Los Angeles, there was a welcome environment here very early on, right, for black people to purchase homes.
Yes, and there was redlining in Altadena, too. Most of us live on the west side of Altadena. We don't live across lake, and living across lake happened very recently. Or you were very special and somehow sneaked over the red line. But blacks have been in Altadena since the 1800s. We have Robert Owens, who lived up in the hills with the Indians, who became a very rich ex-enslaved person by bringing wood down to the military. We have Biddy Mason, who was in Altadena, who now has a monument in L.A., but she was in Altadena.
I didn't know that. I of course I know about Biddy Mason, a woman who walked miles and miles and then became one of the first really wealthy, formerly enslaved persons.
Exactly, and it's not documented, but the story is that she owned the land down at the Rose Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the story. Now, it's not documented. We don't have the proof, and we understand from what the story says is that she gave the land to the city. Well, That just seems suspicious to me, giving the land to the city.
Highly
It was
suspicious.
it was a landfill. It was a landfill, and she owned it. And George Owens, who is on we have lots of trails in Altadena. The El Prieto Trail is named after him, the dark one, because he was up there with the Indians, and that's what they named the trail. And
Yeah, Prieto is dark in
yeah,
Spanish.
exactly.
It
So
sure
they
is.
named the trail after him, and that's what they called him, the dark one. And that was in the 1800s.
Wow. So this is going back. I mean, this is pre-Civil War,
Yes,
obviously.
yes. We have Ellen Garrison Clark. She came from Concord, Massachusetts, and she was the daughter of slaves. And she came to Altadena to teach blacks to read and write. And it was illegal at the time that she came. She's buried in the Mountain View Mortuary in Altadena. So blacks have a long, deep, deep history in Altadena.
And it's starting to come to all of our attention a little bit more as a result of this tragedy, of this catastrophe. But I can feel it just in talking to you that there's a deep and grave sorrow about the potential loss of this historical legacy.
It is, it's hard to even find the right word, and the words get scrambled in my brain with the smoke and everything else that's going on. But up until COVID, things weren't even documented at the Historical Society. COVID and George Floyd brought attention to the Historical Society that they weren't doing their job. They were not recording the history of blacks. They had the movie stars, Sidney Poitier and others that lived in Altadena, but they had not recorded and archived the history of blacks. So our mission has been for the last 3.5 years to get that history and to archive it and to have it so that it's there for the future. Because what the Historical Society is, it's not a museum, it's an archive. They archive the history and they have it there for others to come and research.
For scholars and authors and the like. Also joining us right now, Vice President of Student Services, Enrollment Management, and Equity Initiatives at West LA College, but also an Altadena resident with deep roots here as well. Dr. William Sims, welcome.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed. How are you doing importantly?
I'm doing well. I am and have been encouraged by my friends, my parents, my children, and the spirit of Altadena. This is a undefeatable community.
I love that. Undefeatable community. Tell me about your roots and what's happened with you and your family in this fire.
Our family has been in Altadena for the last 45 years, in really the central part of the community. And I was born in the house that burned 8 days ago. My brother and I were both born there.
I'm sorry.
We were raised in this community. I've had the pleasure of being of service to the community as a field rep for now Senator Adam Schiff, as the Neighborhood Services Director for the City of Pasadena, as the Dean of non-credit and off-site campuses for Pasadena City College, and participating in youth sports and leadership programming. My idea for serving the community is really rooted in many of the people I look out across this room and see. These are the people whose lives I model mine after, and my parents connected us intentionally to community. So, you know, I've tried to see this as a rebirth. When fire devastates a community, I think it can be destructive, but it can also provide the opportunity for a new day. And I'm taking this as a sign that it's my generation's time to step up and help rebuild, support our parents, support our neighbors, and help this community continue to heal. And I have examples of that, whether it's Brandon Lamar or
Brandon Lamar, who's been mobilizing the community response. He joined me Monday on this show, and so many others.
yes. So, seeing so many people step up and help heal our community, I think that's what gives me hope.
Your family's okay? Everybody's okay?
We are safe. We've been able to find temporary housing as we look for more long-term housing through Free from Hardship helped us find an Airbnb, and then we were able to use the Airbnb vouchers to find a stay while we look for a longer-term stay as we start to rebuild. And even a local architect named Camille Jackson helped us with plans. So we've already developed plans for the redevelopment of our family home.
I want to hear more about that. And the roots of Altadena, it's very fascinating how strong this black community is and how sort of low-key, often flying under folks' radar. If you live in LA or you live in Southern California, anywhere, you know that there's not too many places where we are that deep. Crenshaw area is one, and there are others. But we were joined on the phone by former Vice Mayor of Pasadena, the Honorable Jackie Robinson Baisley. Good morning.
Good morning, Dominique.
Tell me how you are and what I understand your house is also gone.
Yes, I, along with my entire street, I was approximately 1 block above Altadena Drive, and so my husband has had a chance to go and see the area, and there's virtually nothing left.
How are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you processing that?
Well, we are getting to the practice of saying we are not okay. However, we are safe. We are temporarily relocated, and the outpouring of support from our coworkers, our friends, our family, the community at large has just been very hopeful for us, and we appreciate all the support, and we look forward to returning. We're temporarily in San Bernardino, and so we've both been traveling back and forth to ensure that my daughter has opportunities to see her friends, for me to check on my parents' home, who is thankfully is okay, but due to the air quality and other health issues, we also relocated them. And so it's just going to be a transition period as we aim to go back closer to Pasadena and Altadena.
Yeah, that's another issue that we can address when we come forward, which is people are scattered, right? People have gone wherever they have family, where they have friends, where they have resources. So how do we make sure that all this aid, all this outpouring of love reaches those who are in need? They're obviously not in their homes, and most will not be here in Pasadena, Altadena. How do we make sure that that help reaches them? And more on the beautiful and unique history of the community of Altadena when we come forward. We're broadcasting live from the Pasadena Church on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has a program specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to resolve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit
The
OptimaTaxRelief.com.
smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop. We gon' be alright.
KBLA Talk 1580 is amplifying Black voices and spotlighting our untold stories. I'm Dominique DiPrima. Join me Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. as we broadcast live from the Altadena, Pasadena area. Due to the National Guard closing down this section, we will not be at Perry's Joint. Our new location is the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. We'll be covering the individuals and families impacted by the Altadena Eaton fire. Hear from community leaders and those who have suffered losses that must not be forgotten. So join us Thursday at the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. Together we can help them rebuild and recover. Together we are LA Strong, LA United. With your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Appreciate you. We are here at the church in Pasadena. That's what it's called, the Pasadena Church. And Veronica Jones is with me from the Historical Society. The president also joined by Dr. Sims, who's a longtime resident. My colleague and friend, Dr. Melina Abdullah, lead organizer for Black Lives Matter LA, and the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots is here. And you guys just came with a bunch of stuff.
Yes, so we were here a few days ago, and there were items that were needed. There's a lot of donations. The outpouring of support is overwhelming, and I think the pastor was talking about the beauty in the fire. I have a clip of what he said, and it was just beautiful. The beauty is people coming together and giving what they can. But there were requests. Black hair care products. So we got a load of black hair care products. Grateful to our black-owned black hair care products because they donated this. You know, we have a truckload full of black hair care products. We have N95 masks. We have toiletries. These are the items that were requested. So we're trying to make sure that the community gets the items that were requested. When you hear these stories, everything burned. Right? Everything burns. So what do you do when you're trying to piece your life back together and survive in the interim? And so we're trying to help that process. Black Lives Matter Grassroots and Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. We can't restore what's been lost, but we can help to rebuild, and that's what we're trying to do.
And I just want to ask you also, because you're a history professor, and sort of also ping back over to Veronica Jones, what you can share about this unique community. which, as Ms. Jones was sharing, black people have been living here since before the Civil War.
Look, Miss Jones is the expert, and I'm a I'm a Pan-African Studies professor trained in political science. So politically, I can give you the political history of what we're facing. That, you know, this is one of the most important black historic and cultural spaces in the entire nation. For it to burn is a travesty. And it's a loss that is really immeasurable for the entire black community, that for generations we will be talking about this loss unless we can make it something that we build from. On my way in, I heard Brother Martin Gordon talking about bringing Altadena back black. And I will say, I'll add an on it. Let's bring it back even blacker and stronger and make sure that we learn the lessons of Tulsa, learn the lessons of other black communities that have been burned either by tragedy or by intention, and say we're not doing that. We have a different vision. We have people like Miss Jones who are really grounded in history, but also the history of black resilience and black resistance. And I think that we can make Altadena, Pasadena, an example of what happens when we organize and build and intentionally preserve and grow black community.
Yeah, Dr. Ishelle Williams, who started off sharing her story with us this morning, who's a therapist, was talking about epigenetics and how this kind of burning down to the ground of our communities and the loss of our sort of fortresses of culture and love and fellowship is baked into our DNA, which is tragic and hard, but it also means that we fought back before, and we sadly were built for this. Veronica Jones, you are the expert. Tell us some more about what is special about Altadena.
Okay, it kind of threw me off expert. I'm learning day to day. I'm learning with everybody else. So I'm just a soldier out there trying to dig up our history. But it's special that I know the person across from me. We're connected. I'm connected with the doctor here. I mean, this is Altadena. That's how the connection is. It's that everybody in the community is somehow connected. If I didn't know you, I knew your mother, or my brother played football with your brother. It's that kind of community that we all are connected. And it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to find out that you're connected to somebody in that community. And that's really rare, and it's becoming more and more rare because people are getting disconnected. No longer, I could go on my little street, my little cul-de-sac. I have a pediatrician. I have my husband was a truck driver. We're retired now. I have a scientist. I have the retired homemaker. So it's a very diverse, especially on the west side. We have more PhDs, even though we're called the underserved. But it's underserved by design. So Altadena is very unique in that we have learned to live together. We've learned to live with, the doctors learn to live with the truck driver. We don't have to separate that.
One of the things that I found remarkable in preparing was that 8 out of 10 African Americans living in Altadena own their own homes.
That's very
80% of black people own their own homes. That I would wonder if that's got to be the highest. Is it the highest in the country?
It's the highest rate, and it's double the average.
But you know,
Dr. Sims?
I think Mrs. Jones, you bring up a really salient point for me, is that it's not that we learn to live together. We are a community of people who haven't forgotten the recipes of the South, right? In the Great Migration, so many of the black families that moved here from Texas and Arkansas and Mississippi and other places, we lived together before. You know, the doctor lived next door to the butcher, to the baker, to the candlestick maker.
Exactly.
And so in Altadena, we have preserved the way of life. When desegregation happened, you know, in the South, it's still, actually Pasadena was still segregated. We are the last school district in the nation to be desegregated, and it happened by federal order. And so,
and it was Altadenians that bought the fight.
Right.
We're up against the clock here for news, traffic, and sports. Real quick, Dr. Abdullah, Black Lives Matter is raising money right now.
We're raising money right now to provide direct support to people who are impacted, as was lifted up. Folks are scattered, right? So we want to serve the community of Altadena, Pasadena, and we also know we got to get it to where they are.
BlackLivesMatterGrassroots.org.
Yes, Black Lives Matter, BLMGrassroots.org.
BLMGrassroots.org, news, traffic, and sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. State Farm will renew policies for homeowners affected by the Los Angeles County wildfires, reversing their previous decision to drop coverage. They have received over 7,400 claims so far, with more expected. The family of Robert Brooks, beaten to death by corrections officers in upstate New York, is suing. Body camera footage shows officers repeatedly punching and kicking him while restrained. 14 officers have been suspended, 1 resigned, and the FBI is investigating. The FDA proposes limiting nicotine in tobacco products to make them less addictive and easier to quit. If finalized, the U.S. would be the first to implement such a rule, potentially saving lives and reducing severe illness. And Jazz Fest in New Orleans will feature headliners, including Lil Wayne, who will perform with The Roots. The festival runs for 2 weekends in April and May, with tickets ranging from $300 to $2,000. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
New year, fresh start. Why not with better water? LifeSource Water gives you clean, filtered water from every tap with no salt and no frequent maintenance. Call 800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com today. Warranty limitations apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers and Clippers won their home games last night. The Clippers beat Brooklyn by 59 points, the largest victory margin in franchise history. Brooklyn's 67 points is a season low for all NBA teams. Kawhi Leonard had 23 points. James Harden dropped 21 and had 11 assists. The Clippers are at Portland tonight. The Lakers snapped a 3-game losing streak with a 9-point win over Miami. Rui Hachimura led the Lakers with 23 points. LeBron and Anthony Davis had 22 each. The Lakers played Brooklyn Friday night at Crypto. Tiger Woods, who sponsors the Genesis Invitational Golf Tournament in Pacific Palisades, remain uncertain if the event will be played. The Genesis is scheduled for February 13th to the 16th at the Riviera Country Club. The course did not suffer any damage from the wildfires, although numerous homes nearby were destroyed. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, no. If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Oh, this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back. Indeed, there's a lot going on, we're going to get it all in today. I want to give some love to my African-focused trailblazer family, Nalo and Melanie, here at our broadcast live from the Pasadena church. And Melanie, a longtime Altadena resident who has been severely impacted by this terrible fire. I want to welcome also to the mic the pastor of this particular church. He has been kind enough to open his doors to us. He's the head coach. They call him head coach, senior pastor at the Pasadena church, which they call the Church with No Limits. Yeah, thank you so much for welcoming us in, Pastor Kerwin Manning.
It's so glad to have you here. We're honored that you're doing the broadcast from here, right in the community, right where things are happening, and it's just our joy to be able to be with you today.
Tell me a little bit from your perspective. You've been preaching in this community 20-plus years. Mm-hmm. Tell me what is so special and important about Altadena as a Black historical community?
Yeah, as you said, I've been pastoring in this community for over 23 years now, and you know, when preachers get together, they want to know how big is your church, and I've been telling people for years that my church is 186,000 because that's the population of Pasadena and Altadena. So the church has been here. We will continue to serve and meet the needs of the people. So our goal is to find a need and fill it, find a hurt and heal it. So especially Altadena and the families there, it's so important to for the church to offer resources, that's a no-brainer for us. But the church is in this particular special place to offer hope and to offer just an assurance that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning, that things are gonna get better. So that's what we're here doing, and we will continue to do until the Lord calls us home. I think about, you said 186,000. That's Altadena and Pasadena together. But Altadena, I believe, is about 40,000 people. Yeah. And when I hear 7,000 structures down, that's just such a huge percentage of the people here. Yeah, it is. It's the only word that I can use from what I've seen and where I've been is the word war zone to help people who are not here understand the devastation and the destruction. And so that's terrible and terrifying. But we're believing that out of these ashes that beauty's going to rise. That's from Isaiah 61:3. It says that the Lord gives beauty for ashes. When I've read that scripture for years, but But when you're in a different situation, it hits differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just like a song. Like when you're in love and things are going well, that a song might pass across you. It sounds good, but you don't think about it. But when she breaks up with you, and then it comes back on. She used to be my girl. If I had a chance, I'd take her back. For a matter of fact, that song hits differently. And in the same way, the scripture is hitting differently now because we're standing in the ashes and we're wondering how can anything rise from this. But that scripture now becomes a promise that the Lord is going to provide beauty for ashes. So we're unofficially calling everything I do, I'm unofficially calling it Operation Beauty Will Rise, because we're going to see it, especially our Altadena families.
I love that. Operation Beauty Will Rise.
Yes.
We have Vice Mayor, the former Vice Mayor of the city here on the phone, the Honorable Jackie Robinson Baisley. I'm so sorry for the impact on you and your family. And what would you leave us with this morning? Ms. Robinson Baisley, can you hear me? Okay, we may have lost her. We may have lost her call. So I'll pivot to you, Dr. Sims. I know you're going to come and join us next week along with your sister. But what do you want folks to know? What is the news getting wrong? What is the broader community that's not Altadena missing here?
Just that we are a community that is very focused on healing. I think this isn't just about structures. This is about people. This is about connection. This is about the ways in which all of these folks have continued to support each other and lift each other up despite loss. And so as you tell the story of Altadena, or you hear the story of Altadena, know that this is a resilient group of people who will not go easily, who will not fall, and don't come here trying to steal our land. I think that's one of the clear messages that I want to send. We don't need you to come build 1,000 condos. There's a very unique footprint in Altadena, and it is homes, and it is families, and it is people who care deeply about each other, about preserving our history, and about writing a new chapter.
And I am hearing that a lot. And we talked about this. Brandon Lamar is here. You were on my show Monday. We talked about the great work you're doing. Of course, you're the president-elect of the NAACP of Pasadena, but you're also on the ground with neighborhood servants and others just making this happen. But the concern about people being spread out. How do we make sure people come back, that the land isn't sold off, and that the people, wherever they are receiving the help? Since the help is centered here, and they could be anywhere from Fontana to San Bernardino to Inglewood.
I think the important thing is we know who is from this community, and we know who is around this community. And so we're looking at efforts that has been happening all across the United States to support here. We want you to support the efforts that people that have roots that we're doing here, right? It's amazing that we're talking to all kind of organizations that want to help and want to support, and we're just asking you to get in line of what we've already started, what we're already getting done, because we know the families, we know the churches, we know the businesses, we know the lawyers, we know the architects, we know the insurance agents, and so there are people that are from here that knows the roots of our community. And I think that's the important thing is, as of right now, we have people that are spread out, but sooner rather than later, we want those people to start coming back into this area because as William said, and so many other people are saying, our land is not for sale. We're not selling it. Our land is sacred to our community. Our roots is here for generations and for generations to come. And we're going to stand on that. And if we got to create our new National Guard with the people that are from here, then we would do that to protect our land ourselves.
So, Brandon, you don't see this as the dispersal or the end of this black enclave?
I don't see that way. I see that there are people that outside of our community that can perceive that with like I said before, there are people that are already, and organizations and businesses that are already offering families money for their land, right? And I think we have to come together But I think we have to be strategic in us coming together. And if we're not strategic in us coming together, then things like that can happen. But I think we have enough force on our streets and in our community to ensure that that does not happen within our communities as we continue to protect our neighbors, as we continue to protect our seniors, because also a lot of our seniors don't know what they don't know, right? It's a new generation, new different time. And so we literally have to allocate those resources to our communities, which is one of the reasons why we partnered with Pastor Curran Manny in the first place. This is the area where the fire started, and there were no resources happening on this side of town. And Pastor Manny was gracious enough to open up his doors, literally had one conversation, and that next Monday, it was stuff here. Over the weekend, they were working to get it together and everything like that. And so it's been a powerhouse, and that's what it's about. It's about collaboration. If you come here and think you're going to do something on your own, you might want to think again. But it has to do with collaboration within our community, and building those bridges and those gaps where they might be.
I think so. What I'm thinking of also as I'm hearing you, Brandon Lamar, and also Dr. Sims, is it's also important to spread the word. We have to tell the people who are in Inglewood or San Bernardino or even the Bay Area, wherever they went for shelter, wherever they're staying with family, that they can come back here and get the resources at this church, at the Pasadena City College, and wherever else. There's one other location, right?
Yeah, we're at the Flint Ridge Center and Pasadena Church here. And, those things are so important. Our families are coming back. Let me just say that we have families that have, at the end of the day, it was an emergency at that moment, and they needed to find somewhere to go at that moment. There were so many families that had to evacuate. Those families, a lot of them in the Pasadena area, are now back in their homes. And so we have some hotels that are opening up and Airbnbs that are opening up in this area. And so if you are in San Bernardino, Long Beach, San Fernando Valley, please come back home. There's space, there's room for you. We have people that are willing to help you even find hotels in the area and find housing in the area. And so you can definitely reach out to the Flint Ridge Center. We have active staff waiting to reach out to you, and also for you to reach out to them so that we can help you find somewhere inside of your community, because I think that's the important thing. We heal better when we're together. We don't heal when we're separated. And so we want our community to be here, where their family is, where their community is, because we know best what happens when tragedy strikes. Sad thing is we come together, but now we got to stay together. After the media leaves, after the volunteer leaves, after the funding leaves and all those things, we have to continue to remain a community, and that's what we're pushing for at this moment.
That's a great point. But KBLA, we're not leaving. We're going to be in this for the long haul. We will continue this conversation. We'll get an update on what's happening with the schools right now when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The Ignited Light program invites one and all to the 8th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, January 18th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. The spirit of Dr. King's legacy of service continues as local organizations come together. A drive-through food giveaway, free medical services, the Department of Children's Services offering employment opportunities. Foster and emancipated females aged 18 to 26 can take part in a very special She Ready luggage giveaway on Saturday, January 18th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. More info, visit adayon.org. Again, adayon.org. Drivers, please enter from the Marlton Ave entrance.
I don't even know where to start with health insurance. Do I just, call a hospital and ask them?
Look up Covered California. That's their whole deal, making it easier to get and pay for health insurance.
Okay, but can I afford it?
Yes. They work with a bunch of health insurance companies. I pay something like $10 a month, and it's actually really good coverage.
Wait, what? How did I not know this?
You just needed to know who to ask.
If you've got questions, Covered California can help every step of the way. Enroll by January 31st. Covered California. This way to health insurance.
We go be all right. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Really big thank you to all of the community organizers and impacted families and individuals who came through this morning as we broadcast live from the Altadena, Pasadena area. I'm Dominique DiPrima. We are inside the Pasadena church, the Pasadena Church, and I want to give a big thank you to On the Spot Live for streaming this whole thing. You can see it on YouTube if you missed it. Actually, we're still streaming right now. And joining us this moment, Patrice Marshall McKenzie. She is a member of the school district, the Pacified Unified School Districts Board. Good morning.
Good morning.
Where are we with schools? My understanding is the ones that are not impacted will remain closed next week. Is that correct?
We have just received a public health order for the city of Pasadena. And because of that, we are obligated to honor that health order, and we are obligated to comply with the health safety requirements to test, evaluate, and receive positive certifications before we can reopen schools. So the district is actively engaged in that process of trying to ensure that as quickly as we can meet the requirements under the new public health order by the city.
So do you have any sense of it, a week, 2 weeks, months?
I'll say the district staff is working aggressively to do all that they can to get students back on campus as soon as it's possible and it's safe. But we are prioritizing health and safety first and foremost.
Of course. And there will be no pivot to an online class model?
That decision has not yet been made.
Okay. And what about mental health support for the kids? I'm so worried about the children right now.
We have a robust set of resources on the district's website, which is pusd.us. On their Canvas and on the front page of the website, there are social emotional learning supports for students. There are asynchronous learning opportunities, but there is not a current expectation of students to engage in that way, because we do know that right now things are really difficult. People are just trying to put one foot in front of the other. And so we're trying to honor the human needs that people have right now to sort of stabilize themselves and not put the expectation on students to actually have to continue with their learning at the moment if they are not able to.
And what about those teachers?
We have so many employees that are impacted because people who, in the same way that Altadena is a community where people live here, work here, and have family here, the district is very much the same way. So you have folks who have their parents are here, their siblings are here, their cousins are here, et cetera, and they live and work in the district. And so when your system and your safety net is impacted, so if you lose your home, I would go to your house because you're my sister. She was around the corner. She lost her home too. So I don't have anywhere to go. So we have so many employees and students that are in that same predicament where their whole family has been impacted in a way that we just can't even try to figure out how to comprehend that. So we're being as mindful as possible and as graceful as possible. Central office staff, it is maintenance and operations staff, it's teachers, it's principals, it's across the whole system that people that have been impacted by this fire and that are displaced and are trying to figure out what their next step will be.
One of the things I haven't heard as much about, Pastor Manning, is a lot of people lost their businesses, and there's jobs that are associated with that. And the impact of jobs is much further and wider. What resources can folks look to and find regarding that if you're out of a job or your business is down?
Yeah, this is where the power of community comes forward. We're going back. We have social media and we have all types of ways to communicate, but the good old word of mouth, one beggar telling another beggar where to find bread, and just getting the word out. When something's going on over here, we've got a trusted chain, a text chain that we're sending out to the 17 families of our church alone that have lost everything while we continue to serve the community. And just, wherever it is, whether it's a job opportunity or for businesses to jump in and be a part of this. And when employment opportunities come, we'll be one of those spaces where people can get the trusted information to be able to help them get employment. 17
members in one church.
17, yeah.
That is just, it's just really hard to get my mind around these numbers and what's happening here.
We're praying it won't be 18. We're not sure about our home yet, but hopefully we'll get word today. We may be able to get an escort to our home to see, but we're resolved.
You as in you,
my wife and I.
Your wife.
Yeah. So
wow.
we're evacuated in a hotel, but the show must go on and ministry continues. And God has an amazing way, I believe, of turning your misery into ministry. So these are opportunities, especially for the faith community, to be here for everybody else.
Yeah, it's really well said. Earlier in the broadcast, Michelle White from Neighborhood Servants pointed out that they were helping in the Paradise Fire, and they still haven't rebuilt from that fire yet. That's been many years. So we are looking at a long game here. And I want to ask, we'll start with you, Veronica Jones. I mean, you said you barely started with the Historical Society in documenting the black stories here. So give me, can people come and tell their stories to you? Are you collecting this information? We're talking the long view back and the long view forward, the road ahead.
Right, and we had just started planning our 90th anniversary, and part of that anniversary was to call in the community and get those old photographs in and photograph those families. And there's a book called Scenes of LA. It was going to be Scenes of Altadena, and we were going to document that. So what we're doing right now is we haven't been able to get back in our building yet to see what is still there, but what we plan to do is get funds to continue that program, to continue documenting, and even more so if people have photographs. We feel like the house is burned with those photographs in there. What are we going to do? Now we document the stories of those people. And I just want to address something you said.
Really quickly, because we're almost out of time here.
Okay, really quick. Even though Altadena is this community, this vibrant black community, there is definitely a dividing line from Lake over to the west side. Now is the time for the politicians to step up and put that infrastructure in the black community. My beauty salon is gone. My yoga shop is gone. The coffee shop. To put the money that was promised so many years ago when they took away our building fund. They were going to do this big community building, and it never happened. Bring that money back. We need those services. We need those jobs.
What a great challenge. Veronica Jones, and you reach out to the Altadena Historical Society if you do have some photos or some history. Pastor Manning, I'm going to give you the last word here. Words of comfort, whether it is that you want to share resources, whatever that might be.
Yeah, I've been thinking through and praying through what is happening here, and I believe that crisis has a way of building a community even stronger. As an African-American preacher, I got to put it in an alliteration. But I've just been sharing with people that crisis causes clarity. When we had to flee, I didn't go for my Jordan collection. I was just trying to get some shoes to run out. Crisis also cultivates community, what you're seeing here on the ground and at other sites. Communities come together. Nobody's asking your political affiliation. Nobody's asking your gender. Nobody's asking all of those things, because the only thing that matters is that community is serving community. The common denominator is the hurt and the pain. Crisis also creates a chance. We've seen that just from day one. The chance or opportunity comes in two forms, either good or evil. The evil, while we've evacuated, there's folks looting our homes. But the good is that we've got the community serving those who have lost everything. And I believe with all of my heart that good wins. Good wins. And the good that's happening here is going to create and bring the eyes of the world back to Pasadena. Just a few days ago, they were watching the Rose Parade and the Rose Floats and the game. I'm a Buckeyes fan too, so don't hate on that. But then a few days later, they were watching the devastation.
Yes.
But out of the ashes, they're going to turn back. And in a few days, weeks, months, years, they're going to look at Pasadena and Altadena especially and say, oh, my goodness, look at the beauty that has come from these ashes.
Pastor Manning, again, thank you for welcoming us into your church. We are passing the mic to Tavis Smiley. He's got a great show on deck for you. I'm going to steal a phrase from Pastor Manning to close. He says, crisis causes clarity. Like my mama used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Altadena strong. Until next time, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. State Farm will renew policies for homeowners affected by the Los Angeles County wildfires, reversing their previous decision to drop coverage. They have received over 7,400 claims so far, with more expected. The family of Robert Brooks, beaten to death by corrections officers in upstate New York, is suing. Body camera footage shows officers repeatedly punching and kicking him while restrained. 14 officers have been suspended, 1 resigned, and the FBI is investigating. The FDA proposes limiting nicotine in tobacco products to make them less addictive and easier to quit. If